Welcome to 12 Minutes or Less with the Author. I'm your host, T.L. Brown, but you can call me Tracy. Let's get started. Hey there. I'm so happy to welcome British rom-com author Bruce Spydar. Bruce used to wear a suit, work in an office, and get paid to lead teams of staff working for international nature conservation. Today, he possesses no suit that fits, has no office or staff, and he doesn't get paid, although he still volunteers in support of nature. For the last few years, Bruce has thrown himself into writing. He describes himself as a writer with a kind heart and a naughty mind. Personal experience has taught him that everyday life is rather full of struggles and that happiness and laughter are too often in short supply. It's why he now chooses to focus his creativity on sharing his humor and positivity. Bruce is the author of the Shy Backpacker books, the spicy rom-com travel adventure series, its spinoff, Refining My Dining, as well as several self-help books. Welcome, Bruce. I am delighted that you have joined us.
Thank you for having me. I'm delighted to be on your podcast.
Let's get right into it. For our listeners, can you tell us what inspired the Shy Backpacker series and its spinoff, Refining My Dining, which I have a copy right here, Refining My Dining.
Now, thankfully, I'm happily married nowadays and have been so for the last 20 odd years. But in this context of the sort of what if questions, I started thinking about, some of the different girls that I'd met during my life and started thinking, okay, well, what if something had worked out differently? And it's going back over decades of my life history. I started to think about that, and one aspect was in relation to a period that I spent traveling after university, and this is broadly what then gave me the idea for creating my first Shy Backpacker book, which then turned into a series. Now, most authors' advice, or at least most sort of how you start off, is that people will say, write about what you know. And occasionally some people have told me that I've got a bit of wit between these two ears. So I thought that based on some of these experiences and so on, I would try to write some humor, based on my own experiences. So, in this series, it's the experiences that sort of, and the travel that provides a core thread through it. And then I just let it develop. I've got the sort of the three books of the journey from Australia through New Zealand and then on to Canada. Now, when I started to get some reviews of these, the first of these books, a couple of reviewers questioned what some of the female characters would have actually made of my main character, BJ, who's based on me. And they said, well, what do they make of them? And in essence, that provided the spark for me thinking, as I was writing this series from BJ's point of view, I thought, well, it gave me an idea for a spin-off which ended up then from one of the females' perspectives, and looking at.
And this is a great place. I'm going to jump in here. This is a great place, just for our listeners. Megan Turner, Refining My Dining, the changing taste of Megan Turner, the spinoff that you're talking about, I loved it. It was almost like having Megan talk to you, like you're sitting down with a girlfriend. So tell us what it's like to write from the female perspective, which is what you did in Refining My Dining, and maybe tell us one or two challenges.
Okay, so with when I was thinking of beginning this from a female perspective, there were two potential logical choices, which were two of the main characters of Megan or Susie. And Megan was definitely more fun. So I thought that would, she would be the sort of the starting point for Refining My Dining. And I would say of the books that I've written to date, this was definitely the most fun to write. And with writing sort of from BJ's perspective, I was largely, I think, constrained in my mind by my own character traits and the boundaries that I have, because BJ's kind of based for me. But whereas writing from Megan's perspective, I felt, much freer to explore. Now, when you sort of ask about challenges of writing from a female perspective, my question really is, well, is there any such thing as a female perspective? I'm not so sure. I mean, every individual is different anyway, and I certainly, from my own experience, I'm not sure that I've ever found anybody who actually thinks the same way that I do.
That's a fair question that you're asking back. Absolutely.
But anyway, I mean, throughout life, as a person, I've always struggled with being overly self-conscious. And because of that, I think it's been natural for me to always try to put myself in other people's shoes and try to imagine how they see situations and indeed how they see me. And in my young, free and single and indeed frustrated days, I did that rather a lot. And also, I'd say that in my sort of previous career, my day-to-day life was just filled with various management and human resources problems. And when you're dealing with these day in, day out, they certainly provide a huge amount of insight into how other people see you and the world. So anyway, I
Absolutely.
mean, coming back, I suppose, to challenges. I mean, I think I certainly found some challenges associated with staying in character, but I'm not too sure that any was specifically gender related.
Bruce, we are coming to the end of our time. In 30 seconds, can you tell us what you are working on now and any other future writing projects?
30 seconds. Okay, well, after The Shy Backpacker and Megan, I produced this, and this was about a year ago, Unboxing the Art of Happiness. It was inspired partly by my mum, who passed away during the pandemic. And what it is effectively a common sense guide to life. It's a simple, practical model of thinking which can help us keep a positive mindset, and through that, hopefully give us greater happiness in everyday life. That was released just over a year ago. Since then, I have returned to writing humour, and I have drafted a kind of BJ Goes to University type of book. The working title at the moment is Educating BJ, but I'm not sure, with the double meaning of BJ, whether Amazon and other algorithms, they may give me some problems over that, but I'm sort of considering that. And it's sort of a prequel to the Shy Backpacker series, again building out of observational humor, derived from a varied and somewhat distorted life experience.
It
To be
sounds
honest,
wonderful.
I've really not done a great deal of writing in the past few months. As you're aware, I volunteer for a nature charity, and that work's taken up a lot of time. I've recently been out to South America over the summer, and I'm now sort of getting ready as well as dreading my daughter starting university in a few weeks' time. So yeah, I've been keeping myself busy.
It sounds like you
Hope,
certainly are.
yeah,
It
I mean,
sounds like you are.
hopefully I'll get to finish the next book later this year, perhaps early in 2025. And then there's a couple of ideas also sort of deriving from BJ's life that I may want to then sort of follow up after that. But so that's sort of really where plans are in a very quick nutshell. And yeah, hopefully it's
Awesome.
just getting my mind in gear and getting on with it.
That sounds good. Well, we are at the end of our podcast time. And I just want to say, Bruce, thank you so much for joining us today. Huge fan of yours. Can't wait for more of BJ, the character. So thank you for coming on the show today.
Great. Thank you for having me.
Awesome. Awesome. Okay, listeners, viewers, Bruce's books are on Amazon. So we've got the Shy Backpacker series. We also have Bruce's self-help, various books. Check that out if that is your interest. I'm a big fan of Refining My Dining, the Changing Taste of Megan Turner, which is a spinoff from the Shy Backpacker series. These books are in Kindle Unlimited. Bruce's website is listed there. You can visit him online, but you're probably going to find him mostly on Instagram, where he shares his wit, his humor, his observations, and his great cheering on of the indie author community. He is a darling of the indie author community, and trust me, we all love him. Thanks everyone for listening, and I will see you the next time. This has been 12 Minutes or Less with the Author.